Good evening, and welcome to the Icecast Live, and welcome to Season 3!
Yay! Season 3!
My trusty man in the cupboard is out of the cupboard. Sam Morgan, how you doing, Sam?
I'm very well, Shane. How are you? I see you're
mate.
out of your cupboard too.
I'm just facing the computer in a different direction, that's all. I was never really in a cupboard. But you are actually almost in a cupboard, aren't you? Because you're in a hotel tonight.
I am. I am in a hotel. I've been kicked out of my house, and I'm now in a hotel. I'm a hotel. I live in a hotel now. No, I'm down here for work. I'm in Dartford.
Dartford? That's south, isn't it? I said it in a northern accent then, but it's south, isn't it?
There's the Dartford crossing there.
Oh, right. I think that does mean something to our guests because, like, our guests live in that part of the world. But from that part of the world, I think. But so yes, we do have guests tonight. I know we advertised that we were just going to talk about comics that we'd read over the summer, but we do actually have some guests, which is great because Ollie isn't here. Ollie couldn't make it. He's busy doing teacher things and arranging festivals, and he's really busy. Actually, when he told me what he had to do, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not surprised that you can't come on tonight. he's like last minute news that he's got to do a festival. So hey Ollie, if you're there.
Well, hopefully as well, hopefully this show will be as successful as your last one. Was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
We did have a really successful Dave McKean. We had an out-of-season episode before we came back with Dave McKean, Josh Bow, and Luke Copsey and Lawrence Allison. And we had a chat about AI art, for want of a better expression. I've stopped calling it that. I call it something else, prompt-generated imagery or something like that. I don't really refer to it as art, but we had a really good chat about it, and it was really interesting. And a lot of people have downloaded or watched that episode. It's been our most watched episode. It's interesting, isn't it? It's topical, you know. And I suppose that being topical, we should express our commiserations at the parting of our monarch this evening. Which, for those of you who have not heard, it is very sad to report that the Queen is actually dead. And it's a very sad time, and for her family and for those who, you know, really do care about the monarchy. And we know that there are people out there who care about that sort of thing. So we sincerely express our condolences for anybody who's been affected by that news. But tonight we are talking to two excellent creators, Mr. Rob Jones and Mr. Matt Hardy, about a fantastic book that I've had a little sneak look at, thanks to Rob. And I was really pulled in by the story, but we're going to let them, you know, talk about it rather than just us sort of introduce it. So without any further ado, Sam, let's roll that old VT and start the show.
Adieu, let's go.
And welcome back to the Icecast Live.
Hello.
Welcome to our guests. Hello, Rob. Hello, Matt. Thanks ever so much for coming on the show, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Absolutely welcome. It's great to have you. We weren't going to have any guests, and then I saw that I thought to myself, Thunderchild. I would love to talk about that book on our season 3 opener. I have had a sneak look at it, and it's absolutely fantastic. It really is. And guys, it's doing great guns on Kickstarter right now, isn't it?
We're very impressed. Well. Yeah, definitely.
Could do with more backers though.
Definitely. I agree with Matt.
Oh, yeah. You can never have too many.
Rob's constantly running around. Oh, it's brilliant. I'm like, it's brilliant, but more would be always quite nice. So yeah. So if you're watching this, you haven't backed the book yet. Is it too soon to get a promotion in?
We were going to get around to that, you know. But you want to get there now, if you want to do it now.
Got it ready. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, it's been a really big success, so we're pleased with it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. I mean, you should be as well. It's a great. But there you go, guys. There's a little bit of a. We're going to put the link on the screen. So
that was subtle. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very subtle, isn't it? Yeah. It actually makes us smaller. It's that big, the link. So there you go, guys. Please do pledge. And oh, look, there's a typo. What would be the show without a typo? Fro. Please pledge Fro. Yeah, all right, we'll get rid of that.
Down with the kids. That's what it is. Down with the kids.
That's my excuse.
So what was your first experience of War of the Worlds? Was it the book or the film? Or where did you learn about, where did you get which version of War of the Worlds is in your head?
So you'll get two completely different answers here. Rob, do you want to, because Rob's is go on.
I'll start if you want. Okay. For me, it was the musical. It was Jeff Wayne's musical. My dad had it on vinyl. I remember I was probably about 6 or 7 when I first heard it, and blew my hair. And obviously the song Thunderchild is always the standout for me. That and Forever Autumn from Jeff Wayne's obviously musical. For me, like I say, have been the most informative and stuff. Or and it's lived in my head ever since. You know what I mean? And kind of
amazing narration.
Richard Burton, and obviously now they've redone it with Liam Neeson. They've redone it now with Liam Neeson as well, cool. which is also cool.
Isn't Martin Sheen doing a version?
I don't know, possibly, but obviously
who hasn't?
Again, Liam.
You had to be from Port Talbot to do it.
Sorry, Sam. What was that? I didn't hear you. Sorry.
No, you had to be from Port Talbot to be War of the Worlds.
That's a good point. I don't know. Liam Neeson certainly isn't, is he? He's too busy. He's too busy fighting everybody all over the world, apparently. And what for me, it was that. It was definitely it was the musical, and then reading and hearing about. I don't remember where I heard about it. Obviously, the Orson Welles radio play.
Yeah, that's a
which scared the crap out of people. You know what I mean? Because they thought it was real and stuff. And so I was. For me, like I say, that was the big one for me. And then Matt, how did you first experience it?
So I come from a completely different point of view. So I read the novel years ago, and then doing Thunderchild was Rob's idea. He sent me. I maintained that he was drunk. Rob insists that. Well, the amount of exclamation marks on you get those Matt exclamation mark Matt Thunderchild, lots of exclamation marks. Rob's idea to do Matt, we need to do Thunderchild. Rob, funny when you're sober. But Rob's idea. So I'd read the book many years ago, so I went back, reread the book. I went and got the recent BBC audio version, not audio version because it's a completely different story. It's their own take out from the library. That was superb. And even went to see there was a play about the TV show, the radio show, about how people in America were, absolutely 100% convinced that it was genuine, and it was really, really clever. It was about misinformation and fake news, basically, how that was the first example of like proper fake news that people believed. So I did tons of research. Rob just listened to Thunderchild on loop, basically.
That is true. True story.
That was Rob's research.
He's not lying. You know what I mean? That is exactly
I'm not.
Exactly what we did. And I'm just there going, and you know what I mean? The guitar.
I'm a big fan of the Steven Spielberg Tom Cruise film. I mean, it's
haven't seen it.
Oh really?
I've got the counterpoint. There's a bit in that where it should be absolutely monumentous. And I kind of like how they did the bit where obviously you're following Tom Cruise and is it Dakota Fanning, if I remember rightly?
Yeah,
and they're going across. Yeah, and there's that huge pitched battle. There's a couple of bits I do remember from that. One is the train.
Yes.
One is the train where the train goes past and it's all on fire, and it lasts uncomfortably long.
Yeah,
where the train goes past, and then there's the bit where they're running past that pitch battle. Now I do appreciate it, but there's a part of me that would want to see, you know what I mean, like tripods. I know, but
all the stuff, all the mad stuff is happening off camera. You're just following this one guy, and you see glimpses of it, and that's what the train is, because you want to know why that train is on fire barreling past, but that's not important. Rather, it is important, but that's not where you're following.
There's a whole other movie that could have been made, isn't there? From the scenes that weren't shown.
That rolls in quite nicely to why we're doing what we're doing, because obviously with regards to the Thunderchild, it's a very, very, very minuscule part of the book. Very minuscule, almost passing comment.
It's a paragraph,
Yeah,
that.
But
it's good because it means it becomes, because it's in the book, it's public domain. So we get to use it. So that's
and it gives you a lot of scope, doesn't it, to tell your story?
Massive amount of scope. I mean, it is a tiny little bit of the book. The Jeff Wayne version obviously expands on it more, but even that is only a small, self-contained, isolated incident. So
what is the Thunderchild? I don't. I'm not.
So HMS Thunderchild was an ironclad warship.
It was a ram.
Big boat, torpedo ram. Yeah. So,
and when they came off the production line, they were obsolete. By the time they got them into the water, the ships themselves were already obsolete. And so
an obsolete, out-of-date warship against futuristic machines from Mars. So it's very much theoretically one-sided battle. I mean, so you don't know much about. So you don't know how the story ends, then, Sam.
He's gone. Gone off. He's run away. He's like, no, I don't want to hear this.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Answer the question.
I think he's just lost internet for a minute. He'll be back. We have actually had a comment in already from Sai. When you were working on it, for how long did you have Jeff Wayne's music going on continuously in your head? I think that's a question from Rob.
I had Rob singing Jeff Wayne's music constantly in my head when I was writing.
Yeah. Including all the solo parts, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Brilliant.
Just all the time, I sent it to Andy Lanning, and Andy was just like, I was listening to, he listened to it whilst he was reading it, you know what I mean, and stuff, and he said it was just, you know what I mean, he really loved it. And so, spoilers for people who haven't read the book or, you know what I mean, kind of don't understand, but it's an ill-fated journey.
It's not what I mean? Well.
No, it's not going to end well.
I wrote the end. It's not going to end well.
I always love those stories, though, that they're going to end badly.
Yes,
and it happens a lot. But even though it ends badly, you still root for the characters. It almost makes you forget that it's going to end badly. It's I love how writers can do that. And when I read this, that was one of the things that got me into it. I was so into the characters, the conflict between the characters on the boat. I won't talk much about it because I don't want to give too much away. But that was so engrossing that I almost forgot how it's inevitably going to turn out. Yeah,
it's so much fun making characters that are going to die in horrific ways. I mean, I would say, don't assume everyone's going to die in horrific ways, but don't get attached.
Some might die in more conventional ways.
In nice ways.
Some might die in more conventional ways. Yeah.
Nah, I like to kill people in inventive ways. That's how I write books.
I've read the end, and the end is fantastic. Honestly, Matt's taken it. You know what I mean? And like I say, we're really hoping. I mean, like obviously, this is the Kickstarter itself is for the first part. We're splitting our story into 3 parts, and they're three quite distinct parts as well. You know what I mean? Because obviously, the first part, like I say, you're kind of getting to know people, and we're setting up the kind of conflicts that we wanted to explore as well as writers within it. You know what I mean? And obviously, we try to stay very faithful in relation to kind of the message at the heart of obviously H.G. Wells' book, obviously. And so we've tried to kind of take that and modernize it in certain ways and play on the fact that obviously the ships were, the Thunderchild itself was obsolete, or it would have been obsolete as an ironclad torpedo ram. And obviously we've introduced a sister ship as well, the Lightning Warrior, and we're introducing elements that we wanted to explore. And there's a lot of, obviously, within the book itself, it's quite anti-empire. You know what I mean? And obviously the crumbling of empire and things like that. And so we wanted to kind of play with a lot of those tropes, didn't we, Matt? You know what I mean? Going through.
Taking the themes that are present in Wells' initial novel and almost given characters and character voices to each of those themes to try to bounce them off of each other. I mean, that's, I think, quite prevalent in the first. The first issue is it's a pot boiler. It's establishing the characters, establishing that something is going on, building the suspense. I mean, you're talking about the War of the Worlds, the Steven Spielberg film. I haven't seen it, but what you're saying, a lot of stuff happens off camera. That's not such a bad thing. I mean, that's often the case in a lot of the adaptations. You literally start off with tripod. People are going to get bored. You want to build the suspense. You want to build fear. You want to build the terror. So when the damn things do turn up, you're already petrified of them. So that's pretty much what the first book's about. It's building that fear, building that anticipation. But Rob, I created a character called the Major for the first issue, and Rob wrote pretty much all the Major's dialogue. And he's such a superb character.
He's a great character. I really liked him.
No, Rob's very good at the military voice, that kind of upper class kind of stuff.
I could hear it in my head. I could hear it in my head. That's
how Rob speaks to himself in the mirror.
Every day. Yes, proper.
I mean, it's quite theatrical dialogue at times, but then at other times it's very realistic dialogue, and it keeps you sort of into it. It's like when everything's really theatrical, it keeps you at a distance from the characters. But every now and again they'll say something that's real, and it just makes you remember these are real. These are people, with feelings and agendas, and it's very well written, guys. Very well written.
We try. We do.
Thank you.
Kickstarter.
Sorry, Sam.
Should we have a look at the Kickstarter?
Yes, if you can bring it up, that would be really good.
Has it gone up by 4 backers since we started?
Well, sometimes we've done shows like this and we've watched the Kickstarter move. It's in real time. That can always be fun when somebody's pledged during the show. It's like
we're in that quiet patch. We've hit most places we're going to get backers from at the moment, so we're in that quiet patch. But it should pick up towards the end,
isn't it? That sort of mid-campaign. I mean, I've done a few Kickstarters now, and it's always quite psychologically draining, isn't it? When you get to the middle of the campaign and you're fighting for every single pledge.
Really is frustrating, isn't it? Yeah, because you get that massive boost at the beginning and the end, but it's like you're in a ship on calm water. Becalmed, and you're like, you just want the wind to come back in my sails, but all around me it's totally calm. And it's like you got a good one recently, didn't you? With Babylon 5, the Legacies.
Legacies. Yeah, we did pretty well with that one. Yeah, we thank you. Yeah, it did really well, and it's just the first issue, and we hope that we're going to be able to reach more people as it goes along. Because what has been created there is absolutely brilliant. I have to say, the creative team we've got. So we've got.
I've read the script.
Oh, have you? Of course you have. Because your letter in it.
I've lettered 5 pages so far. You know what I mean? Very cool, very good. Stas Johnson's artwork and Matt Soft's colours. Just phenomenal all the way through, you know what I mean, and stuff. And obviously, the way it's written really well, you know what I mean. It's fantastic book. I'm really proud to be part of it. You know what I mean.
Thanks, man. It's good to have you on board, mate. It's good to have you on board. So we've had some big comments here, so I'm going to get through them, and then we'll go on to the Kickstarter. From Barry Renshaw. Hi, gents. Big fan of everything War of the Worlds related, especially the Jeff Wayne album and the Orson Welles Mercury Theatre play, and later the Scarlet Traces series. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Question about designing the tripods. How difficult was it to come up with an original design for the fighting machines? And did you draw inspiration from any previous incarnations? Thanks for that, Barry.
Okay, well, we sent a kind of brief over to Kevin Castaniero, who's our artist, and he came up with them. They're almost, I mean, the first person to read Thunderchild was my dad.
Oh.
Okay, I like once we had the issue together, I sent it to my dad. All right, my dad's been in hospital for like 5 months now, and I sent it to him, and he had a read of it, and he was saying how Kevin's designs, they're almost like the design of a German helmet that have been turned into a tripod, almost like he noticed kind of those kind of things with it, you know what I mean, and stuff. So it's like I say, Kevin is entirely down with the design. We just let him go nuts, didn't we, Matt? We just said, go on, you off you go.
We need a tripod, Kevin. Draw us a tripod. I mean, it's weird because he seems to have incorporated bits of this little bits that's similar to the Spielberg design. But if you see, Wells did his own very basic sketch of what he thought one was going to look like, and ours isn't a million miles away from that. So I've been meaning to ask Kevin if he researched that, but no, we said, Kevin, tripod. Came back, we went, yeah, that's exactly what we wanted.
That's brilliant. It's good when you're in sync with an artist like that, isn't it? And they're sort of
he's been really, really amazing. We asked him for 5 pages for the Kickstarter. He drew the entire book.
Wow.
He drew the entire.
Wow. He's obviously enjoying himself, isn't he?
He was loving it. He wanted to do it in order so he could get the flow properly. Yeah. So he drew the entire. It just needs to be coloured now. You've got the black and white version, haven't you? That we sent you.
There's bits in colour.
Those are the pages for the Kickstarter. We got coloured.
Yeah. I mean, the colouring is lovely.
Simon,
he's
really
Simon Goff. He's fantastic.
Really nice. So let's have a look, Sam. Let's have a look at these war machines, shall we? There's some on here, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, there'll be plenty.
Quite a way. They're quite a way down. Kevin's actual initial designs. So about halfway down the page would be Kevin's initial designs.
I mean, I love that one. It's one of the variant covers. I think that one in the red there. That's. I mean, Sam's moving really quick.
Tim Dowler.
That's Tim. Tim was a customer in the comic shop where I worked. Oh, so those are Kevin's designs. So I mean, they came through. We went, those are distinctive. We like those. But the variant cover was Kevin was Tim Dowler, who was a customer at the comic shop where I work, and he'd done some prints for the comic shop. Really good prints like Predator and the child from Grogu from Mandalorian, and they're really good stuff. And I said to him, "Do you want to have a crack at this?" And he gave us it's not that one. It's the next one down. Yeah, it's the red. It's the red one. It's one of the variants. That one. I mean, that's cracking. That's an iconic image. It really is. Yeah. It's superb. I love the simplicity of it. The deep red, the almost silhouette of the War Machine. It's so distinctive, and I love the way the War Machine almost resembles a crustacean in its design. That sort of like the way it moves together, the way the shell goes over the top, it almost looks like a crustacean. It gives it that organic quality. It's definitely got seafood vibes to it, isn't it? Seafood vibes, that's it. It's like a lobster, a crab, and an octopus all in one. All the sea fish. I mean, some people think that octopuses are aliens, don't they? So they probably are. But like I said, obviously we've been really blessed. Like I say, obviously the initial cover that people saw was by Kevin. Kevin did us this beautiful image, like I say, for our main cover, and then obviously Tim's done a variant cover, and then we've had Dan McDade do a cover as well. And Dan McDade's cover is, like I say, equally just as and the what's really lovely is the difference in styles. You know what I mean? Obviously, Tim's is really I don't want to say minimalistic because it's not. It's really detailed, but it's much more kind of like I say. It's much more. I don't want to say serene either. I'm trying to think of the way to describe it. I probably should have thought about this before I started talking. But yeah, Tim's is Tim's obviously Tim's style. It's almost quite static.
in a way. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's very menacing. It's very steeped in shadow and stuff like that. And then you get Dan's cover, which is just like action shot. You know what I mean, and stuff. And obviously, you've got the Thunderchild and the one of the Martian tripods kind of squaring off against one another. And it's just like I say, the perspective he's done on it and things like that, absolutely fantastic. You know, and obviously again, and like
loving the color in this as well. The coloring is amazing. Look at
that. Simon Goff.
So Dan coloured his own cover, but Simon did the colouring on our main cover and the interior as well. And Simon has really brought it to life, hasn't he?
Definitely, it's really, really good colouring, and I really love the composition of that page as well.
So that's Dan's cover. He coloured himself. That is. It's nothing else to say about that. That's a beautiful piece of work.
It speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's glorious.
What was really nice is obviously talking with Dan. He was saying this scratched a particular itch for him because he really wanted to do some kind of War of the Worlds style artwork and stuff. So when we commissioned him,
he wished he'd thought of doing Thunderchild before us. So he was keen to be part of the project. We're very pleased to have him.
I'm loving seeing all the bare inks as well, and I mean all the artists that you've chosen are very stylized, aren't they? They've got very distinctive styles that lend themselves, to this period in time. I think quite well.
Yeah, I think we're good at picking the right artists for the right sort of thing. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of the prints as well, the pin-ups and the prints for the book. Again, we went for artists who we thought would give a menacing mechanical feel to the tripods and the Thunderchild.
So, I imagine there's quite a lot of artists
they're not up yet.
Part of it. Sorry.
Yeah, you can see Kevin's pencils. Yeah, those were Kevin's initial designs for the characters. So Silas, the first mate. So initially, Rob, after he calmed down shouting Thunderchild at me lots and lots, sent me a 4-page breakdown of like first 4 pages of the book. And Silas was the captain, and it was we start off at the Thames, and it was literally them before they go off to fight the Martian war machines. And I really liked it, so I ignored it for like 3 months.
As you do.
It was the middle of lockdown. I was busy.
You were busy, mate. You were working on like 6 or 7 books at once. You know what I mean?
I did have a lot of projects on, but we came back to it, didn't we? I had a writer's block, and I sat down and I wrote the end, like the 30-page finale, which was just death, destruction, blood. And then I said to Rob, there's more here. We can do more of this, can't we? There's more meat here. So I said, why don't we start it right the way back, like days before even the first sightings in the sky. So I plotted out book 1. Rob then laid out book 1, panelled out book 1. Rob wrote most of book 2, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, that's why it's going to be crap. No, I'm kidding.
I love book 2. Book 2's superb. I mean, Kevin's going to have so much fun drawing book 2.
Like I say, book 2 goes a bit bananas, to be fair, and then you've got the ending spectacular.
I've drag it all back again at the end to drag all the plot threads screaming back around again for the end.
Did it help having 2 of you like plotting it and writing it? Did that give you a little bit of dynamism? Were you able to bounce off each other and like reinvigorate the energy of the story by having 2 people writing?
Yes.
Matt?
No, Rob sucks. Rob's a really good co-writer, because if there's a bit that I'm struggling with, he's happy for me to hand it off to him, which is exactly what you want. And then if there's something I don't like and I want to rewrite, Rob's not got, he doesn't have an ego. He doesn't like, no, that's my bit, leave it alone. We had to rewrite quite a bit of the first issue as we did more and more research. And Rob's fine with that. So I think, we bounce off each other quite well, Rob.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, obviously we did Hell in Stalingrad, which was right during, we launched that, June 2020. which was like a graphic novel that we did together. It's like a World War II horror story. And we wrote that. That was like 80, 90 page comic that we wrote together. That stuff, and that was like kind of pulp horror. That was a lot of fun. And again, it was a similar kind of style. So we've got a kind of way of working. And I've always kind of Matt's a great writer by himself, and I usually work. I've done most of my comics with a guy called Mike Sambrook. Mike and I normally work together. And I find it a much better process, to be fair, to work with someone, because you can bounce ideas off each other, and they can bring a different perspective to a story, and maybe give you an inroad into maybe a character that you might not thought of, or a situation or something like that that could bring in, that could completely change the way a story's going, and in a really positive way.
Yeah,
and so
I bet it trains you not to be precious as well. As you alluded to before, you can't be precious. Like sometimes you might come up with an idea and you think, oh, that's a really great idea, but then you have to jettison it because it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. Yeah. And you can tuck that idea away for something else that might work for you. You know what I mean? There are a lot of things you can kind of transpose and introduce into other works that you might do and stuff. So, like I say, Thunderchild has been a lot of fun to put together. Like once we actually got started, it came together really quickly. You know what I mean? Like properly. After 3 months of shouting Thunderchild at Matt and him finally relenting and writing it with me, you know what I mean, and stuff. We it did come together really, really quickly.
It was it was always a good idea, Rob. But yeah, I do write a lot of other books, so yeah. I mean,
exactly.
It was a great idea, mate. But I mean,
you're very
prolific.
You know what I mean?
Doing pretty well.
Yeah, we're doing good. And obviously that's it's especially how things are at the minute with regards to the world, and I'll just gesture everywhere. You know what I mean, and stuff. It's really humbling that people want to back our funny book.
I totally agree with you there, mate. I mean, I'm the same. We've had some success with our crowdfunders, and I can't help but feel incredibly grateful that people have chosen to spend their money on something that we've produced. And it's the same with you guys. What you're saying there, I totally get it, because people have actually been inspired enough by your idea to say, even in these difficult times, I'm going to back this because I think it's a good idea and I'm going to enjoy it. And
exactly
speaks volumes, doesn't it?
I mean,
yeah.
funding is down on all crowdfunder platforms. I mean, it's to be expected. Times are very, very tough. But yeah, no, you're right. It's humbling to have people who still want to dig into their pockets and support the book. So yeah, it is appreciated.
And it makes you want to work even harder, doesn't it? You think, right, these guys have, they've paid for these books. I want to give them the best they can possibly get. You feel like this huge sense of responsibility to provide the best entertainment possible,
And with the Kickstarter, that people are interested. You're not like just throwing something out and hoping for interest. You've got your almost double of your targets. Yeah. So that it's going to be appreciated, and it's going to be welcomed. So it's great. It's really good.
I do have a couple more. Barry's followed up actually with another comment. Follow up: is the series intended to fit in with the original book chronology, or is it a side universe? Any plans to continue characters post invasion? Well, if they're alive, eh?
Do you want me to start that, Matt, or do you?
Well, the Masters of from
I'll do the first bit. You can answer the impossible second bit, okay? So it's designed to sit alongside the original chronology. We reference the observatory that first noticed the flashes in the sky. The timeline roughly fits with what's going on the mainland with the Martian capsules landing. So it's meant to tie up. Any plans to continue with the characters post-invasion? Rob, go. Oh,
depending who survives. I don't know. Obviously, it depends. Because again, like I say, it's a difficult one because the story itself, like obviously Sam was mentioning earlier with regards to the way it's done, you're following a single narrative through all this, and the fact is with the War of the Worlds, it's so expansive and everything that happens. We could do. We certainly could do. It all depends on time, you know what I mean, and everything else. But it would also be if we could make an original story, I suppose, about it as well, that could maybe raise the questions or raise new questions for us to kind of explore and answer within the story itself as well. Because like I said, with regards to this, we're like we said earlier, we're trying to take a lot of the themes that Wells had in War of the Worlds and obviously explore them ourselves through the story. And it would be, I mean, it would be a bit rubbish to just kind of rehash that with maybe another story or anything else, you know. And obviously, yeah, so that's a difficult one, but thanks, Matt.
We can't do another Thunderchild. We definitely can't do another issue of Thunderchild.
No, you know.
Yeah.
Thunderchild 2, Electric Boogaloo. You know what I mean?
Thunderchild: The Return.
The raising of the Thunderchild.
The wrath of Thunderchild. There we go.
We would not.
Of course, if you're talking about War of the Worlds, you have to reference League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Series 2, because that's one of my favourite War of the Worlds.
Oh, the opening, John Carter and Mars.
The whole thing.
Yeah, isn't it? How we work that together
on Mars. There's a double-page spread. I think pages 7 and 8. It's on the Kickstarter, but it's not coloured. But the colour version will be here in a couple of days. In my head, when I wrote that bit, I had the it's quite a way down the page, I'm afraid. Right. There's I had in my mind.
If I can find it.
Okay.
I had in my mind that second volume of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So
what were you looking for? A double-page spread.
It's keeping going. It's in black and white at the moment, unfortunately. Keep going. No, up. Sorry,
you got back.
A bit too far.
What? Where?
Quick hands, Sam.
Keep going up. That one. You really can't see it very well, and it's really bad. But that's the surface of Mars and the Martian war machines. And it's clouds of gas and dust. Yeah, it's going to look amazing when it's coloured.
Yeah,
exactly.
But in my head, I've had that.
That's lovely.
Super zoom.
That's going to be a great double-page spread when it's coloured, isn't it? I mean, I love that. That's a really great image. I like the idea that you're showing sort of like glimpses of Mars as well. That's pretty cool.
See, it's that thing, isn't it? Obviously, like kind of Matt touched upon earlier, the outside thing that's going to, really affect our characters. It's there, and it's obviously that thing of obviously the audience knows something that the characters don't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you've got that sense of foreboding, and we really want to play in on that, didn't we, Matt? You know what I mean? And stuff with things like that, and obviously show a bit of Mars and things like this, and obviously kind of play with that. And like I say, the whole point of the first issue is menace. You know what I mean? I mention it a lot when I talk about the artwork and stuff. Like I say, this feeling of unease. There's something uneasy happening. You know what I mean? Obviously, the green streaks in the sky, all these green streaks in the sky, all these kind of things. We've really wanted to play on this feeling of unease and give the reader something where you've got vital information that the characters do not. You know what I mean? So something's coming, and you don't know when we're gonna do that and stuff. So that was a big part of it. You know what I mean? So
locked in a room, and they know there's something going on, but they don't have all the information. And it's like, as I said earlier, it's like putting a kettle to boil. It's building and building and building. I mean, we have a big climax to issue 1. I mean, you've read it. We do hopefully deliver. But we enjoyed that build up. That double-page spread, by the way, our editor Fred McNamara, and we should probably mention Fred because we haven't yet. And hi, Fred.
Hey, Fred.
He's been superb in picking our scripts to absolute pieces. As an editor does. He didn't want that in.
Oh, really?
Because for a very good point that he said, it breaks up the tension we were building because it's the big cutaway from the ship, and we went backwards and forwards on it. In the end, it obviously went in, but no, Fred had a very good point. It does.
You were told to kill your darlings, killed your babies.
We're not killing that baby.
Not that one. No. I dragged that back out of the river. Yeah.
Yep.
It's good to have those discussions, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, Fred had a very good point.
Sorry, Sam.
But
that's all right. No. Let's have a look at your levels of Kickstarter-ness. What are they called?
Kickstarter-ness? What's that?
Oh, you mean the pledges?
Levels of support.
Rewards.
Yeah.
Oh, the pledges. Yeah, what people can get.
Yeah. Pledge rewards.
Let's go for it then. Let's have a look at the rewards. Yeah. Good one, Sam. So we've got a £5 one, which is your digital. That seems to be the standard these days for a digital book, doesn't it? £5.
We also, like I say, we're also throwing in a sketchbook with that though as well. And again, we haven't mentioned. I mentioned Mike Sambrook earlier, who I write a lot with. Mike actually, for the Kickstarter video, Mike actually lent us a song that he's written. The music was by Mike. It's called Tempest Flare, and you can get that with the digital download and things like that as well.
Is that like written music?
It's an original composition that Mike's done. Yeah, Mike's written and recorded it himself and stuff. You know what I mean? Mike's been doing a lot of stuff with regards to like very atmospheric ambient music and stuff. And funnily enough, just to plug him as well, my son Daniel did the Kickstarter video or the editing and animating and things like that as well. So, you know, real very family effort. Daniel. You know what I mean? Good family effort. Yeah. Child labor. I don't understand what people are doing.
Can't pay him.
Then, Sam, let's have a look what else we've got.
So we've got £10. We've got Steam Propelled for the basically the book.
For the book.
That's it. Yeah. So that's cover A. That's Kevin and Simon's cover that they did.
About 100 backers, wasn't it? Because it's weird. Cover A and cover B, almost the same amount of backers, which is not what you normally get. Most people tend to gravitate towards a cover A.
Yeah.
So it's sitting 102.
We experienced that actually with Dark Legacies.
B's one more.
Hey, Tim's in the lead by one more.
They're in competition with each other. They're going to be watching that now. Mum, can you pledge for my cover, please?
Dan's will be less.
Cover C is
Dan's was added mid-campaign, so Dan's will be less because of that reason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's not a reflection on Dan's cover at all.
No, it's a really nice, real classic action cover, isn't it?
I like the green sea. It looks really
it's a
great green.
Very good.
Purest green. Sorry.
Blackadder reference.
So we've got obviously the pledge you just went past after the.
So we've got. Hang on. Sorry, I've lost it. Right.
So
25 all covers.
Yeah, so that gets you all like 3 versions of the book with all the different covers, and then we've got obviously we've got a retailer one as well. You know what I mean, for an amount of 6 copies. You know what I mean and stuff. So obviously, I think we've got 1, maybe 2 backers of that.
2. Yeah,
that's good. It's good to have some retailers on board. It helps get it out there, doesn't it?
Yeah,
definitely.
Hand-drawn war.
Yeah,
Kevin doing hand-drawn sketches. I've seen. He's rattled through a load already. It's good stuff. I mean, they went. I've actually added 5 more yesterday.
So those just sketches on paper, or are they sketch covers on blank comics?
No, there'll be sketches on paper, but of any subject, the backer ones basically, as long as it's like geek and nerd related. So we've had like Deathlock, and we've had like Tripods versus World War II planes.
Cool.
We've had Halo stuff, just all kinds of bits and pieces. Yeah, and he's getting stuck into those.
Yeah, he's done a great job on them.
Yeah.
Oh,
then we got the big bad boy.
So what's in this one, Rob? What's in this?
So the Impossible Invasion one. Basically, we've got a lot of spaces for like obviously.
Rob so you could a lot of people in issue 2.
Oh, I kill a lot. Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of death and destruction.
This is a chance to be killed by Rob in issue 2.
Hey.
Yes, not personally by me, but maybe by my imagination. You know what I mean?
I also kill people in issue 2, but not as many as Rob.
Yeah. No, I killed a fair few. So you get drawn in a character, so you get to die. So that should be fun. You know what I mean? That's what I think we've got. Pardon, Sam?
What's concerting a book?
A concertina book.
Concertina.
Oh, concert. Oh, the A down there.
it's squished. So that's a fold out lenticular book. This was. Do you guys know Lyndon White?
Yeah.
So Lyndon produced this for his Kickstarter a while back, and asked if we'd put it as an add-on for our campaign, as it's War of the Worlds. And it's proved quite popular.
That's cool.
So it's an add-on, and also it's on a couple of the rewards as well.
That's a different. I like that. That's a different idea.
Oh, and one person's gone for it.
Yeah, excellent. One person. So if you want to die in issue 2, if you want to be horribly killed by a Martian tripod, or maybe falling masonry, or you know what I mean, a cavalry charge, you know what I mean, or whichever, you know, there's some space for that. If you want to pledge £250, and then the final one obviously is appear in issue 1, and they've gone
straight away.
Yeah, they did go straight away. They were day one. Cool. They were gone day one. Those two. They went incredibly fast. You know what I mean? So.
Got a comment from Lyndon Webb. Oh, shut up, Rob.
Lyndon, I love it because I've lettered 3, maybe 4 things now for him with for Shift magazine, and he's so great, and he does like to take the piss. Makes me laugh.
I love Lyndon to bits. All right, Lyndon, how you doing, mate? So we've got a couple more comments I'll get through before we go on to the next section of the show. So Barry, again, he's obviously a big War of the Worlds fan. I wasn't a fan of the Spielberg War of the Worlds the first time, but I watched it again after having a child and found it far more effective and disturbing, especially when the daughter is left in the car alone in the midst of the mob. Yeah,
that's the whole scene that is very like zombie. It's like a zombie apocalypse where everyone's shuffling along, and then one stroke panic, and then it's properly scary. Scary.
I need to watch it again because I watched it when I was about 18, 19. Obviously, when it came out, in like the early to mid 2000s.
Yeah,
I watched it then, and like I wasn't I don't think I was as much of a connoisseur of, you know what I mean, understanding film, or you know what I mean, themes and concepts and stuff like that. And I think if I watched it like with Barry, like you said, I think if I watched it now, I think like I say, there are definitely things in my head that I remember and appreciate much more now. Like I say, like the flaming train and bits and stuff like that. And like I said, there's always going to be that.
Watching it as a father as well is different.
The first bit is like panic and mayhem when it all happens. You've got the whole scene with Tim Robbins.
Oh God, that bit, like
scary, quiet.
Horrible.
Yeah. And then you've also got the scene where where Tom Cruise's character has been, he's in a tripod, and that whole thing, those 3 scenes. I mean, then at the end, everything's all right. And there's a problem.
The best scene for me, I mean, obviously, most people have seen it, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything. But the best scene for me is when Tom Cruise's character like hits rock bottom, and he's in total despair. He's just lost all the daughter's been taken, and I remember he just goes on his knees and just cries, you know, and he's hit rock bottom, and then he finds the strength to carry on. It really moved me, that scene, you know. I think anyone who's, you know, a father or a mother, you know, any parent would watch that scene and totally empathize with the character. I mean, fantastic bit of acting. I mean, not everyone's a Tom Cruise fan, but I think he did some great work in that film. He really did. I thought he was really good.
Yes. I can see me watching it again. I might
go
watch
for it, mate.
And do a live tweeting. If we hit 10,000, if we hit £10,000, I will do a like live react as Rob watches.
Yeah, that's what.
Spielberg War of the World. You know what I mean? And obviously, but every person that logs in,
I'll make sure he doesn't do it.
I'm back. Are we going to do the do our
we will.
comments?
I'm just going to go through these last 2 comments. We've got Shibatron, I think, is that how you say that name?
Shibatron.
Sorry if I got it wrong. Or
Shibatron.
I think it's
Shibatron.
Shibatron, very good Transformer Shibatron.
I was just going to say, is it a Transformer? Yeah.
Leader of evil Shibabots. Yes, that's right. Sorry, man, taking the wicket.
Are they a fan of those dogs, the Shiba Inu dogs?
Well, this is one of our viewers, Sam. Stop mocking them. So, from Steve. Hey, Steve. Great looking cover right there. I don't know which cover he's talking about.
He's talking about
all of them. All the covers.
So the next part of the show, which is something we don't normally do, but as it is the first show of season 3, we're going to just talk about some of the comics we've read over the summer, because we've not been broadcasting since. When did we stop, Sam? It was like late June, early July, something like that. Basically, the summer holidays. We had a summer holiday as well because everybody had other stuff to do. So we thought it'd be really good to sort of recap some stuff we've read. Now, as it happens, I think most of us have read stuff that isn't new. We've gone for stuff that we maybe didn't read when it came out, or we've reread it. Maybe, I'm not sure. But we'll start with you, Rob. What was your choice? What was your reading over the summer that you wanted to share?
I got into Gotham Central. You know what I mean? Gotham Central. Brilliant. Obviously, the passing of Tim Sale was horrendous. You know what I mean? Obviously, such a great comic artist. You know what I mean? And obviously, The Long Halloween is probably my favorite Batman story. Right. You know, and obviously, I was like, right, I knew about Gotham Central. I kind of dipped into it before a while back, and I thought, you know what? That's it. I'm getting all of it, and I've got through 2 volumes so far. I also read Dark Victory as well. I had a big Batman kick during the summer, you know what I mean, and stuff. And obviously read that, and I just love the fact that you are following detectives who have to deal with the detritus and debris and nonsense that Batman and his, you know what I mean, his revolving gang of villains leave behind. And obviously, it starts out straight away with one detective being frozen and smashed by Mr. Freeze, you know what I mean, and stuff. And obviously, it's very easy. I know that, like I said, there are other books that kind of deal with that, touch on things, but it's very easy when you're reading, obviously, you know what I mean, like superhero stuff, things like that, to forget about the fact that, like I say, some poor guy on his way to work had the Hulk throw his car, I don't know, Galactus or something, you know what I mean? He's just there going, well, shit, I can't get to McDonald's now to go to work and stuff, you know what I mean? So it's nice to kind of touch on those elements, and the way it kind of tangentially kind of touches on like Batman villains and things like that. I think in the first volume as well, there's one with Firefly, or it might be the second one. It might not be Firefly, it might be somewhere. But like I say, it touches on all sorts, and then there's one with the Joker. I think in volume
Robin.
2.
Robin gets killed, or a Robin.
Yeah, dead Robin.
Dead Robin.
Yeah,
article, something like that, isn't it? Dead Robin.
Yeah, I you know, and obviously, like I say, it's been really good and really good to read. And obviously, I love Ed Brubaker. You know what I mean? I love Ed Brubaker's writing, and obviously Greg Rucka as well. And you know, Ed Brubaker really does write the really good kind of noir, gumshoe kind of stories and stuff. And that's really what I was kind of craving to read. You know what I mean? I'd worked on a comic that was Kickstarted at the beginning of the summer called Tales of Mystery, and like a lot of the things that I was doing, like graphic design wise, were meant to be really kind of you know, noir detective, you know what I mean, kind of style. Found that comic weirdly forgettable, other than the Frozen Officer. Well, like I say, I can kind of see that, but like I say, I really enjoy like the kind of inter-office stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yes, Foster, I think you should give it another read, definitely.
It's a good book at the time. I think it got cancelled prematurely or something. There was I know they had more plans for the characters, I think, because Rucka continued writing Rennie Montoya afterwards in other books.
It's one of those books where if you read them in a big chunk, it works a lot better than individual issues.
Because all the character arcs in it work a lot better, don't they? When you read it in that way.
Greg Rucka's stuff is so much better in a big chunk. Like, what does he do? There's Black and White Spy, British Spy series.
Lazarus?
Or Queen and Country.
Queen and Country, yeah.
Oh, Lazarus was another good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the same artist as well.
Michael Lark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Lark took over on Gotham Central, didn't he? And he did some lovely work on it. Actually, I really like Michael Lark's stuff on Gotham Central.
Like that.
Gotham Central. Well done. I like that. I'll give that a thumbs up. Thumbs
I think
thumbs up.
Good one, Rob.
I can't do two.
So, what about you, Matt? Have you got something you'd like to bring to the table that you've read over the summer?
So, I work part-time in a comic book store. I quit last year to write comics full-time, but I still help them out every so often, which means I get to read everything. Yeah. And this particular book, I skimmed. I didn't even give it a second thought the first time. I'm like, no, I don't like the character. I never liked the character. I don't read a lot of DC at all these days, unless it's Tom Taylor or Tom King. I'm like, I'm not going to read. And then the trade came out. The book is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Not a Supergirl fan at all.
I think Sam's going to get a copy of that. He's probably got it with him.
It is exceptionally good.
Excellent, isn't it?
And I know it really. I mean, the art is beautiful.
It's
swords and swords.
I'm halfway through. Don't spoil anything, Matt. I'm halfway through.
Have you got to the bit on the planet yet? Superman.
You know what? It's all on a planet.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
Have you got to the bit?
No, it's not. There's a bit in space. It's heartbreaking. It's clever. I know you hear people often say, "Oh, it's the Dark Knight Returns version of this character," and I hate.
I got to that bit there, Matt. That bit where
that bit.
Yeah.
Just
the planet
where she tells him how to wash her hands. That was a good bit.
Yeah. Anyway. No, it's brilliant.
So good.
The art
it is
beautiful.
Brilliant. It is.
But it made me see that character in a completely different light, especially in relationship to Superman. It sets her apart from Superman in every possible way. Yeah. Superman is she almost looks upon him as the lucky one, the guy who got shot to earth, got raised by a nice kind family. Whereas, they tweak her origin a little bit, they play around with her origin a little bit, and hers is much, much harsher, much worse. Yeah. She's had it really bad, and
she's had it tough.
It's had it tough, and I'm not a massive. I like a lot of what Tom King does. I love his Human Target at the moment. That's a superb book, but I don't read everything he does. I don't follow everything he does, but no, it's a superb. If you think of not picking it up because it's Supergirl, ignore that.
That would be a mistake.
That damn book is just amazing.
It is. I mean, the art, as you say as well, the art is absolutely fantastic, isn't it? I mean, I follow all of her work as much as I can. Some of her stuff isn't in the sort of the mainstream, but it's just so unique a style.
It really is. It suits the subject matter so well. She done some Wonder Woman stuff.
Did some Wonder Woman. And I think she did some work on the revival of Sandman as well.
The Dreaming book.
Yeah, I think I picked a couple of those up. Yeah. And again, perfectly suited. It's intricate, but it's also got a sort of cartoony element to it. Even though it's realistic and detailed, it's cartooning as well. It tells a story. And I mean, there you go. There's an example. I mean, who's the artist on the cover there? Is that her on the cover?
Yeah,
it is. I think it's not good.
That's not typical. That's not typical of her work, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's great stuff. I highly recommend. And as you say, when Tom King's good, he's really good.
Yeah.
When he's not so good, not so much. But when he has his moments, I think. Mr. Miracle for me was another good one. That really that spoke to me a lot. I thought it was a really good character piece. And this one as well really is.
I give it 2 thumbs up for that.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed that one. I'm glad you rediscovered it and went back for another go. Sometimes
2 thumbs up, but mine is thumbs up because you stole what I was going to say.
Was that yours?
You stole your book.
I got a backup.
Sorry, man.
I mean, you said some old stuff. Well, I have been. I bought them. I got the entire run of Asterix books.
Oh.
Wow!
I learned to read Asterix and Obelix.
Yeah, the great stuff.
Just like that. Oh, amazing!
The old ones as well. And I got well, hang on this. Yeah, I got 20 of them, all in a big pile from Kent Comics, just down the road.
Dogmatics and geriatrics.
So I'll tell a little story, because when I was a kid.
Before you do, Sam, hold on. We've got a comment. I need to interject. Lee McCabe, can you repeat that Supergirl comic name, please? I've just turned in. It is Supergirl, the Woman of Tomorrow, Lee, and it's highly recommended, mate. Get out there and buy it. Yes. Carry on, Sam.
So, I'm from Cardiff, and I used to go down to see my cousins in Ystrad, which is near Blackwood, where the Manic Street Preachers come from. Anyway, they had the entire run of all the Asterix books. Which was amazing, but they had them in Welsh.
Really?
So I get to translate. I was I had one or two of them, but they had all of them, and so I'd be looking and go, "What's happening here?" And I'd have to get them to translate it, and they'd be translating it, and every now and then they're going, "Well, that doesn't make sense because that's a joke in Welsh, but it doesn't really translate to English and stuff like that." So I was always gutted, and then I found basically all of them today from Kent
in
Comics.
English.
In English, yeah. I mean,
and the jokes are for English audiences. I did read about. Actually, somebody was telling me. Actually,
have you read Asterix?
Yeah. I've read Asterix, but I was informed that they had to change a lot of it for translation.
Well,
because
a lot
the
of
humor doesn't translate.
Yeah. No, because it's all puns, and obviously puns don't work in translation.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so Asterix books are translated by I've got the names of the people who translate it, because it says at the front here. So it's translated by it doesn't say them in this one. Anyway, it's by a couple who translate all these ones, and regularly you hear French people and say that the jokes in the British Asterix books are funnier than the original one.
Oh, really?
It's like, Shakespeare's best in its original Klingon. Asterix is best in the original English. Yeah. I mean, I love it. The colours, the jokes, the whole.
Great. I love Asterix. Like yourself, Sam. I grew up going to the library, getting Asterix books, Tintin books as well. I love Tintin.
Yeah.
But they were some of the first sequential stories I encountered. What about you guys? Were you fans growing up? Are you still fans?
I had some. I think mine were kind of dog-eared second-hand ones, if I remember rightly. You know what I mean? But I used to have those. One of the things I definitely used to have was as well as I used to get the the annual kind of things you get at Christmas. You know what I mean? A lot of those are things like obviously the Ghostbusters things and stuff like that. But I grew up around Asterix, and obviously I remember the cartoons of it as well. You know what I mean and stuff. So they were a lot of fun. My brother and I used to really love those as well. So yeah, like I say, I was trying to remember what copy I had. I think it was do you know what? I can't remember. It's at my mum and dad's. I'm there Friday. I'll ping you and I'll tell you what it is. You know what I mean? It's somewhere there.
Probably was the most popular one, which was Asterix in Britain, I think.
Quite possibly was,
at the end, the magic herb that's given to the British people turns out to be tea.
It's brilliant. The French joking about the English, and it's so good.
Oh, it's so great. Good. It's great. Brings back good memories. Okay, I suppose I should go and let you guys know what I was reading. I did send a picture to Sam, but I think he hasn't got it. So I will show it on the screen. I read this one.
Yeah. Good book.
So it's I got the hardback.
Thumbs up.
I'm late to it. No, I'm not the biggest fan of either of the creators, I have to say. But they joined up for this and produced an incredible piece of work, I think.
Who's the writing again in that?
Chip Zdarsky, isn't it? And
and Mark Bagley. Now, Mark Bagley's obviously got a big history with Spider-Man. But you know, like I say, I'm not a big fan of either of their work, but together they came up with something special here. Obviously, it's a great concept. I think everyone's like familiar with the concept, and that it's, you know, Spider-Man's life story from the 60s to almost present day, and he ages in real time, so it is a life story. But the way it's a very introspective story about his sort of inner monologue, if you like. The thing that characterizes Spider-Man, the thing that I always loved about Spider-Man growing up as a kid, was his struggles with feelings of guilt and responsibility, and that is forefront here, and that like sort of got lost a little bit in some of the recent Spider-Man stuff, I think. And reading this, it was like going back to when I was a kid and I first read those first like 6 or 7 Ditko issues, you know, with Stan Lee, and it's core Spider-Man. This is the Spider-Man we all grew up with, but it's done in such a way. It's like Spider-Man grows up, basically, and as an older reader now, reading the issues that he deals with later on in life and the way he deals with them, it's an incredible read. It really is. I can't recommend it enough, to be honest. Anybody who's even a remote fan of Spider-Man.
I was about to say that. There's
it has
the annual as well.
The Jonah J.
The annual. It's like an epilogue. It's really it's a nice little epilogue, actually, the annual. But the core story is obviously Spider-Man's life, and it's obviously an Elseworlds. Sorry, it's a DC phrase, but it's obviously an Elseworlds story. But the way it's done is just so good. It really does take the essence of what makes Spider-Man a compelling character, and it runs with it, and it interweaves all of those classic stories.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was going to say.
You know,
all the
Secret
stories,
Wars is in there. You know,
the Clone Saga makes it fit in.
Yeah, Clones.
Yeah, it's really clever.
Yeah, Gwen Stacy. Everything is weaved in and out of the storylines.
Yeah.
I know for a fact I've read half of it. I've read up to like the 90s. I think I've not finished it. It's fine. It's all right.
Really good ending.
Yeah, I remember it being really compelling all the way through. You know what I mean? To read and stuff, and you feel. Starts off all joyous and hopeful, and the way the kind of art and style changes as well for each decade, you know what I mean, and things moved up, you know what I mean, and stuff. And obviously, like I again loved. I really enjoyed what I read of it. You know, I need to finish it. I don't get time to read. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm like, that's why I wanted to do this on this
show.
Too busy
day drinking.
It's too busy thinking up new ideas. That's
no.
Good question here. So I'm going to put it on. It's quite a good one. What's the best Spider-Man arc? Whoa, that's a difficult one. I'm going to ask each of you to answer that one. Rob, what's your favorite? I suppose is the best. He's the best. That's very subjective, isn't it? What's your favorite?
All right.
Spider-Man
so when it comes to arcs and stuff, I'm just looking at all my Spider-Man volumes now. Actually, I suppose the one that because I was quite a late bloomer to comics. I read comics when I was a kid, then I kind of fell foul. And then I got back into them when I was like 27. And the first kind of arc run I kind of read was JMS's with started off with John Romita Jr. Obviously, this is not long after 9/11, and you have the you know, the black cover and stuff like that. And I loved that. I loved the idea of totemic powers. You know what I mean, and things like that. And you had Ezekiel, I think his name was as well, who was kind of trying to.
He's mentioned in Life Story as well. They weave that in somehow as well.
Yeah, I love Morlun as well. Was the big bad guy.
Yeah. I absolutely loved that run, and I go back. There's a part of that I don't want. There's the whole bit with like Gwen Stacy and kids and stuff. That kind of like get it. Scalpel
since past, Rob. They did that recently, mate.
Rip it out your head, canon.
Yeah,
take it out
you know.
Yeah, it's not canon anymore, is it?
It's gone.
No,
they undid it.
Good.
Thank God.
Oh, good. That's all right. Like I say, like I really love the JMS Spidey run, but I also really like Ultimate Spider-Man. I really like, obviously, Mark. I like it. Oh, I'm sorry, Sam.
We just keep on stealing your stuff, don't we, Sam? Sorry.
That was another one Sam was going to come out with.
Yeah, I have to think of something else now.
It was my son read Ultimate Spider-Man when he was little. Actually, that was his introduction to Spider-Man. So it's weird actually, because obviously I was introduced to Spider-Man, but for me it was Ditko, and then my son it was the Bagley Bendis run on Ultimate, and in some ways there's a lot of parallels there. I think it was very clever how they managed to sort of reignite that sort of early Spider-Man like magic, if you like, with that series. I think it was quite well done.
Back in the day, when my wife read, I got her into started reading comics. She got into Sandman, and she would read those type of comics, but she didn't like any superhero stuff until I gave her Ultimate Spider-Man, and then she got superhero stuff, so then I could give her good superhero comics, because she wouldn't touch Watchmen or anything that was superhero-y until I gave her Ultimate Spider-Man. She got the idea of, okay, and then gave her Watchmen. I gave her Miracle Man, stuff like that, stuff that she could then go.
It was so character driven, wasn't it, that run? And it was very consistent as well. That's the other thing about it. It was incredibly consistent, whether you're a fan of those creators or not. It was very consistent. But for me personally, my favorite Spider-Man run is probably the Tom DeFalco, Ron Friends run.
You stole my answer.
Sorry.
Tom DeFalco, Roger Stern,
Secret Wars 2,
Ron Friends,
all of that
David
stuff. The whole Hobgoblin, the Rose, the humour. It was such an inventive period. I mean, we've had Ron Friends on the show actually talking about it, and for me, it was so great.
That run.
All these new characters.
Well, that's when I started reading Spider-Man as well, around there.
That's when I started reading Spider-Man. That's why I love it. It was the early black costume stuff. It was Who is the Hobgoblin stuff was superb.
It was great, wasn't
ran
it?
that out for so long and kept you guessing
too long. Yeah, possibly
through so many different, The
Sinister around there.
Death of Gene DeWolf.
Death of Gene DeWolf.
Peter David's run. That's a great run.
That was a great run. Peter David's run on it was Spectacular Spider-Man that was in, wasn't it?
Web of Spider-Man.
Web, was it?
Web of Spider-Man.
Yeah, he did a great run. I mean, I love everything, almost everything Peter David does, to be honest. I mean, again, another Supergirl run there. If you were talking about Supergirl, Peter David's run on that. Absolutely outstanding, I thought, But anyway, we're going off kilter, and we've gone way past the hour, as we always do, because we enjoy what we do too much.
I'll tell you my Spider-Man arc.
Go on then. I thought you had.
Arc, Sam?
No, I've thought of another one.
Oh right, okay.
Well, so there's 2 issues of Uncanny X-Men where New York City has been converted into like a medieval mayhem.
Medieval Gallup, the wizard guy. What's his name?
Yeah, and the only person who survived, who isn't changed, is Spider-Man, and he's running around this mad X-Men story, and he's going, "What the hell's going on?" He's so confused. And it's just,
I have to say, it does sound shite.
Chris Claremont.
Sounds like a bad Star Trek episode.
But those are the great things. When Spider-Man is like the only character going, "What the hell's going on here?" I'm so confused. I can't remember much else about it, but I love the Spider-Man than that. And now I'm saying that because Ultimate Spider-Man's taken and the J.M. DeMatteis one is taken. So
and that's what you come up with. Well,
we haven't mentioned J.M. DeMatteis yet, have we?
No, I don't think we mentioned that one.
Raven's Last Hunt.
No, I said JMS.
They did.
Death of Harry Osborn. That was a great storyline. Yeah.
No, I was going J. Michael Straczynski. The JMS one.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Yeah.
But that was a great.
I stopped reading. 10 years. 10 years. I stopped reading Spider-Man after One More Day. Or was it One More Day? Yeah,
it was bad.
I hate to say it, but the stuff I didn't like One More Day, but the stuff afterwards really good. Really good.
I think a lot of people miss that stuff because they dropped Spider-Man because of One More Day, and then some good stuff came
Spider
out.
Island? Is that Spider Island? Things like that.
I love Dan Slott as a person. I just can't deal with his comics. Sorry.
Oh no! You know what, right?
Dan will forgive you for that, Sam.
To be fair, I really like his I really like his Superior Spider-Man run. I like the fact that he had to play the long game with that. You know what I mean? I really liked it. I like the fact that he's having to play the long game. I've seen him talk about things on Twitter where he's just like 6-year-old kid comes up to a convention and goes, "Is Peter Parker dead?" You know what I mean? Is Peter Parker dead? And he's just like, yes, Peter Parker is dead.
Yeah,
he's deal with it. Move on.
Ruin that kid's life.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You love hearing him talk about comics and his ideas and plans, but then I just can't. And the comics don't do it for me. It's a shame. But,
have you? What about? I tell you, keeping on Spider-Man, keeping on Dan Slott, the Spider-Man Human Torch limited series. That was bloody good.
Who's the artist on that? It's beautiful. I've got that in hardback somewhere.
I'm pretty sure it was Ty Templeton.
It was Ty Templeton. That was it. Yes, I was trying to think.
Absolutely brilliant series. Yeah. Very funny. Very
the first thing Stan did, I think, didn't it, with Spider-Man? It's a very, very early on in his run. Yeah,
it was pre-She-Hulk, I think. But it was great. It was absolutely.
I mean, She-Hulk's alright. I remember She-Hulk was quite.
She-Hulk was good. Yeah.
His Silver Surfer was superb. Really, so many.
I think
that's great ideas.
Yeah, I think that is his best work. Is Silver Surfer because it's
Mike Allred, wasn't
his
it?
Doctor Who, isn't it?
It was.
And Michael Allred, you can't go wrong with it's great stuff. It's great stuff. Anyway, guys, we could talk all night about comics because we obviously love our comics, but it is now 1 hour 15 into the show. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. It's been a really good chat. Sam's still reeling off comics that he loves, so he'd do that all night if I let him, and it's all good stuff. But thanks and all the best with Thunderchild. It is.
Thank you.
You don't need it really, do you? Because it's doing really, really well.
Well, life is good, but it can be better. You know what I mean?
I'm going to put the link on one more time, unless you can do it, Sam. Are you in that screen? Can you stick the link on for us as we go out? No, not that one. The link. Never mind. I don't know.
What?
That one.
Oh, I don't. That one.
Let's throw your copy.
I don't know why I bring him along. I really don't sometimes. Only kidding.
Matt Salt's in Dartford, for God's sake.
We're into stretch goals on Thunderchild. We've got prints from, got pin-ups from Norrie Miller, Christian Dabari, Max
Davenport.
Thank you, Rob. Sorry, I couldn't remember.
It's always good to remember your collaborators' names.
Well, Rob's worked with Max, so
I have.
I've worked with Norrie, and I worked on an anthology that Christian was part of. So, but yeah, we are storming through stretch goals. We may even have to come up with another one, which is a good contact.
Told you what it is.
To have
£10,000. I will drunk tweet watching War of the Worlds. Steven Spielberg. There it is.
Let's hold you to that because you're not that far off.
Let me know and I'll join in with you. I'll join in with you with that. And
that's fine by me, Sam. More the merrier.
Yeah.
£10 a Rob will drunk tweet anything you like, basically.
Happily.
He's not fussed. But
last comment. There you go. That's a nice comment.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
you
very
so
much,
guys. Yeah, and good luck with the book. And we will probably see you again on the show. We might have you back for another Thunderchild book if you do another campaign. If anything happens or if anything else you come up with, we'd love to have you on the show again. It's been really good talking to you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I give a quick shout out before we go? Really, really quickly.
Yes. Sorry, mate.
I gave up my my Warhammer night. I am an avid Warhammer player. I have a Necron army. We use Death Rays. It's great. But I just want to give a shout out to We're Partying Now, it's called, but it's they've got a Facebook page called We're Gaming Now. They run a bi-weekly gaming night. It's free. It's in Thorn near Doncaster. It's free to go down. Jackie, who runs it, she's fantastic. It's really friendly. If you don't want to play, you can sit and chill, paint, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Absolutely brilliant, you know what I mean. So find them on Facebook if you like Warhammer, or that, like I said, they sell like the Rebellion TTRPGs and things as well, you know what I mean. So there's like Judge Dredd, the Slain, all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean. So yeah, well worth checking out. So thank you guys, and I'll be back soon to lose badly again, so it should be fun.
Great stuff. Thanks for that, Rob. Okay, Sam, can you play us out? Thanks, guys.
Bye bye. See you next week.
Thank you very much again. Cheers, guys.
No worries.